Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. In our class today, we're going to look at parts of speech. Remember, this is a continuation of our previous lessons. In the last class, I, I taught you about words. We define word and then different types of words. And if you remember, I mentioned that words are put into different classes. You don't have all the words grouped as one because they don't perform the same function. Words have different functions. So the functions that each word has or the role it plays in a sentence will determine the class or the family of that word. So those classes or families are called parts of speech. And we have different parts of speech. We're going to quickly look at those parts of speech, and then we take each and every part of speech and treat it in detail. If you look at the board, you will see the different parts of speech we have. If you still remember your primary school and secondary school English lessons, this will be very familiar. So we have nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, prepositions, and interjection. There are examples of each of this class of word here. So nouns basically, as you recall, if you still remember your primary school definition of noun, that would be very easy. Pronouns, verbs, and all of this. So these are the different classes of words or parts of speech and their examples. Take note, in some textbooks or in some, maybe some teachers may give you more than these classes, but there's not much difference. If you have this one, then you've captured almost all the basic parts of speech. The nouns, pronouns, verb, adverb, adjective, conjunction, preposition, and interjection. So let us take the first one. Now, let us look at the meaning of noun and the different types of nouns that we have. Let me take this out. Noun. So, what is a noun? I know for some people this might be very easy, but as I mentioned earlier, for those who have been out of school for a long time, um, you may not quite remember what you learned in primary school. So let's do a quick revision. A noun, as we were taught back then, is the name of a person, a place, an animal, or a thing. That's a very beautiful definition, by the way. A noun is a name of person, animal, place, or thing. If you remember, we used to recite that a lot in primary school, and that is very good. The only problem with that definition is that it fails to capture some nouns or some names that are not uh, given to things or places or persons or objects. There are other nouns that are not, say, things or people or places. For example, um, democracy. Democracy is a name and it's a noun, but it's not referring to a particular thing. There are even events. We have events, or say, um, World War II. It's not a thing or an object or a person or a place. It's an event. So if we define now as names of people, places, animals, and things, we might not capture some other nouns, and that would be very difficult, especially for someone who wants to identify nouns in, say, a text or a sentence. So we're going to refine that definition so that it can be more encompassing. So we define a noun. A noun is a naming word. A noun is a naming word, or a word that names something, or a word that gives a name. I think that is better. A naming word. That means anything that is a name, any word that is a name is a noun automatically. Once it is a name, then it's a noun. It could be a name of an idea, a name of event, a name given to a day or a festival or anything at all. Once it is a name, then it's a noun. I think that makes more sense. Our primary school definition is still valid though, but for now, I think we should think of other uh, names as well that are not places or things or people or animals. That would give us a broader understanding of nouns. Nouns also have types. So nouns can be described in different ways. We are going to take the basic classification or description of nouns. Let us follow the primary school standard. We have different types of nouns. So there is proper noun. So nouns can be described as proper nouns, and they can also be described as common noun, and you have collective noun. Proper noun, common noun, collective noun. So what is a proper noun? What is a proper noun? A proper noun is a name given to a particular person. A name given to a particular person is a proper noun. Also, you have special events or festivals, say New Year, Christmas, Easter, Eid, Kabir. These are special festivals, so they are regarded as proper nouns. You also have names of particular places, say markets, towns and villages, states, countries, regions. If a particular place is given a name, then that name is a proper noun. So you can say Abuja is the name of the capital city of Nigeria, so it is a proper noun. You also have days of the week. All the days of the week are proper nouns. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on and on. They are all proper nouns. You also have months. All the months of the year are proper nouns. January, February, and so on. If you have institution, say schools, government agencies, or ministries that have special names, then those names are proper nouns. For example, you can say government secondary school. A government secondary school, Suleja, that is a proper noun, or University of Ibadan is a proper noun because it's a name of a particular school. You also have natural features, say rivers, lakes, mountains, and forests. All of these are proper nouns if they have particular names. For example, if you have forest, just forest, that is not a proper noun because it could be any forest. But if that forest is given a particular name, then that name of that forest will become a proper noun. Sambisa forest, for example, is a proper noun because it's a name given to a particular forest. Amazon forest is a proper noun because it's a name given to a particular forest. How about mountains or even rocks? We have Asa Rock, Zuma Rock. These are particular names of rocks. There are many rocks, but if a rock is given a particular name, then it becomes a proper noun. Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro, these are particular mountains and they have names. So these names are proper noun. You also have rivers, right? You can say River Benue, River Niger, River Nile. These are proper nouns because they are names given to particular rivers. Oceans. Yeah, there are many oceans in the world, and these oceans are known by their names. So you have Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and so on. These are proper nouns as well because they are names of particular oceans. Lake Chad, Lake Victoria. These are proper nouns because they are names of particular lakes. You also have names of people, of course. My name is Isaac, so Isaac is a proper noun. Now, what is the thing about proper nouns? One quality of proper nouns is that they must be written with the first letter capital wherever they appear. If you're writing your name or the name of your state or the name of your country, the name of your organization, special organization with names. For example, United Nations is an organization. So wherever it appears in a sentence, you must start the first letter of each word with capital. So the first letter of each proper noun must be a capital letter wherever it appears. It doesn't matter if it's coming at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of a sentence. It should be written with the first letter capital. It's very important. And that helps in writing. It also helps in reading, so that if you're reading a text and you see a letter of a word in capital, then you know that that word is a name. It could be a name of a person or a name of a place, but you know it's a proper noun. Once it is a proper noun, you know that it is a unique name. It could be a market, a name of a market. So you can say Wuse market. So if you see Wuse market, you know that this is a proper noun because there is only one Wuse market. Proper nouns are names given to particular places or people, individuals, and they must be written with the first letter capital wherever they appear. It could be in the middle of the sentence, at the end of the sentence, at the beginning of the sentence. It doesn't matter. It must be the first letter capital. Good. Now, how about common nouns? Common nouns are just general names given to different things. This means that these common nouns, as the name implies, don't refer to a particular thing. For example, you can say man. This is a name, quite alright, it's a noun, but it's not referring to any particular person. So this is a common noun. Animal, animal, car, house, water. So it's not referring to a particular animal or car or house or water. But if this house, for example, if this house has a name, this house has a particular name, then it becomes a proper noun. Let's say White House. White House is the residence of the President of the United States of America. So White House becomes a proper noun because it's the name of a particular house. Um, if you have a car and it's a particular car, maybe you decide to give your car a name, then that car will have the status of a proper noun. Water, maybe for people who sell water, you can process the water, package it, and then give it a particular name. So you can call it uh, Ragolis water or Aquafina water and all of that. So it becomes a proper noun because it's a particular brand. So you have names of companies, names of organizations as proper nouns. So proper nouns are names given to specific people or places or things. Common nouns are not specific. They refer to just anything. It can be chair, door. It's not a particular door, just any door. Flower, bird, grass, fish. So, common nouns don't refer to any particular thing. Then there is collective noun. Collective noun is a name given to a group of um, things. It could be a group of people, a group of animals or objects or things. So a noun, a collection of nouns, is called, just as we have a collective. So a collection of nouns becomes a collective noun. And if you have a lot of, say, a lot of people, people is a common noun, people. But when you have a lot of people in one place, there is a name you give to that. A collection of people will become a crowd. So crowd is a collective noun. So you have a lot of people in one place becomes crowd. What of houses? Say you have a lot of houses in a place. You call it estate. So estate is a collective noun. If you have a lot of cars, yeah, have a lot of cars in a particular place, there's a name you call that fleet. Say you have a fleet of cars. If you have a lot of a bunch of banana, yeah, you can say a bunch of banana, a bunch of grape, because you have a lot of the fruit in one place. If you have a lot of eggs, say 12, 10, You can call it a clutch of eggs, and so on and so forth. You still remember some of the collective noun. If you have a lot of musician, say the singer, the guitarist, the drummer, the pianist, you put all of them together, you have a band, a band of musicians. Even animals, when you have a group of animals, you can have a herd of cattle, a flock of birds, and you have a hive of bees. So, collective nouns are those names given to a group of uh, nouns. It could be a group of animals, a group of people, or objects, or anything. If you have this in group, then it becomes a collective noun. And there's a name, of course. If you have, say, a lot of countries coming together to form an association, you can call that group a league. So you have a league of nations or league of countries. If you have soldiers, a lot of soldiers in a place, you call it army. You have an army of soldiers. When you have people, a group of people singing, you call it choir. So a choir of singers. Um, and so on and so forth. I believe you still remember some of those words in your primary school, secondary school class. So a group or a collection of noun is a collective noun. There's a name for that. So nouns could be proper nouns referring to names of individual or specific people, or they could be common nouns referring to just general things, or names referring to not a specific individual. Nouns could be collective when you have a collection or a group of nouns. Then you give it a name, a specific name, then it becomes a collection, a collective. If you have a lot of stars, stars in the universe, if you have a lot of stars in one place, you call it a galaxy. Um, if you have flowers, you can have a bouquet of flowers, and so on and so forth. You can think of a lot of collective nouns. If you still remember some of them, you can put them in the comment for me. So, nouns can be proper nouns, common nouns, and collective nouns. There's another way to describe noun. Um, let's see how else can we describe nouns. You can describe noun based on their uh, property or substance. Yes, you can have concrete, abstract, concrete noun, and abstract noun. And this one is pretty simple, straightforward. Concrete means it's something you can see, touch, or even handle. Abstract, on the other hand, is something you cannot see or touch. So the concrete nouns are those nouns that you can touch, feel, and see. Say a car, you can see a car. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can handle it. House, bag. Whereas the abstract nouns are those you cannot see or touch. And example, you may experience emotion, but you cannot see it. I've not seen emotion. Or maybe if you've seen it somewhere, then that'll be fine. You can show us. but I've not seen emotion. So emotion should be abstract. I can say abstract. Maybe freedom. Have you seen freedom? You can experience freedom, but can say it. So it's abstract. Abstract. Most of the ideas we have are abstract. Even the name itself, the name idea itself is abstract. Idea is a noun or is a name of something, but it's abstract. We can't see it. So abstract nouns are those nouns that we cannot touch, can see. Concrete are those we can see and touch. We can also describe noun as count and non-count. Count and non-count nouns. Count noun, non-count noun, or uncountable. Yeah, we're told we have countable and uncountable nouns. So the count nouns are the ones you can count and number. The ones you can count and number. So if you can count the number of houses you have, or the number of cars in your streets, and the number of people walking around the road, or the number of people in your house, then people, cars, houses are count nouns. And there are other nouns that you can't count. Say air. You can't count air. You have air or water. You can count air or water. Maybe you can count liters, but you can't get um, you can go to the river or stream and begin to count how many water you can see there. Um, and most of the abstract nouns are also uncountable, though not all of them. For example, you can have emotions, and there's a plural and singular of that. So it means if you can have emotion and emotions, that means you might not be able to count it and number it. This is one, two, three emotions. It has plural. So those nouns that you cannot quite count and number them are non-count nouns. Let's say smoke. Smoke. Can you count smoke? Um, can you count um, sand? Sand. Have grain of sand. So if you go to the seaside of the shore and you get a handful of sand, I'm not sure you'll be able to pick out the grains and count and number them. That would be almost impossible. So you can count and number these words. But there are other nouns that you can count and number. So the ones you can count and number, you can have one, two, three, four, five. Then those ones are count nouns. You can count chairs. So if you have 10 chairs in the room, you can count them. One, two, three, four. So chair is a count noun. Whereas some other nouns are not countable. You can count them. Okay, so parts of speech. Noun. What is a noun? This is a quick revision now. A noun is a naming word. Any name, it could be a name of an idea, a name of an institution, a name of a person, a name of an animal, or an object. As long as it is a name, it is a noun. Nouns can be classified as proper nouns, that is, those nouns that refer to names of particular people, places such as towns, villages, markets, days of the week, months of the year, rivers, particular rivers, mountains, forests, um, business organizations. These are proper nouns. They must have a capital letter as the first letter of the word wherever they appear. It doesn't matter whether at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle, they must have a capital letter coming at the beginning. Common nouns are nouns that refers to general things or people, not referring to a specific thing, just general. So you call that common, common noun, common noun. Then you have collective noun. This is a name given to a group of nouns. It could be a group of people, a group of animals, or forest. You have a group of trees, you call it forest. A group of monkeys or baboon, you call it a troop. If you have a group of lion, call it a pride. So a group of bird, flock, group of stars, galaxy, group of musicians, band, group of people, crowd, and so on and so forth. These are collective nouns. And then you can also describe nouns as concrete or abstract. Your nouns can be concrete if you can touch, you can feel it, touch it, you can see it. It can be abstract if you can touch it or see it. Your nouns can be count or non-count, countable or uncountable nouns. If they are countable, it means you can uh, pick them apart and number them 1, 2, 3, up to whatever number you can get. But the ones you cannot count or number are non-count or uncountable nouns. Okay, so this is it about types of nouns and how to describe them. We're going to look at nouns again in a more detailed way in our next lesson. We're going to look at how to get plurals and singulars of nouns and different kinds of nouns in terms of their plurals and singulars and how to use them in sentences. Okay, so as usual, don't forget this is more like a series. We started with the smallest grammatical unit, which is morpheme, and we're gradually moving on to a bigger grammatical unit. Now we're treating word, and a noun is a word. So we're going to look at noun. In our next lesson, we consider different qualities of noun. We're going to look at how to use nouns in a sentence and how to identify them. From there, we move on to verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and we treat each word in detail. That way, you will have a good grasp of the grammatical units so that when we get to a sentence, it will make more sense to you how you can build a sentence from words to phrases to clauses and then sentences giving rise to your composition or text. So stay around. Um, so much more is coming your way, and I'm going to be treating this in detail so that for those who have been out of school for some time and have forgotten about what we did in primary and secondary school can still catch up, and even school students who are doing English language as a subject, or you want to write an exam, it could be a national or international exam. This is going to be a quick revision for you. All of what we're doing here is important. You're going to see the relevance of all of this when we get to sentences. So I encourage you to stick around. And don't forget, you can subscribe and share the video. That will be a motivation for me. Thank you. And if you have questions, don't forget you can leave them in the comment section and I will address them accordingly. See you in the next class.